Vivek Ramaswamy broke down why the government incentivizes single-parent households. Let's get into it. Welcome back, or welcome to Uncle ABL. And in today's video, we got to talk about former presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy talking about the federal government, local government, state government, whatever, incentivizing single-parent households. Now, this goes back to what I was saying about Daily Wire. Daily Wire, they're talking about, hey, everybody get married, just go out there and do it. We're not talking about the very high divorce rates. They want to play with the numbers. Oh, it's not really 50%. It's more like 35%. It's more like 20%. But you got to be an astronaut. You got to be a rocket scientist. You got to be a Christian. You got to be a wedding singer. You got to be all these things and more to make your marriage work. And that's if the other person is on the same page with you, because all you really can control in anything that you do in life is your own actions. You can't control the actions of others. There are things you can do to, I guess, incentivize others to do a certain thing or not, but ultimately you have no control. Now, if you're the federal government, if you're Uncle Sam, there's a lot you can do to influence the behavior of people. And one of the main things you can do is offer money to people who don't have a marriage, who don't have a spouse, who just pop kids out willy-nilly, like the child tax credit. You have your government benefit programs, women, infants, and children, WIC, TANF, temporary assistance, needy families. Then you have child support, which is a whole different animal. And child support so crazy, that's one of the few debts you can go to prison for. It might be the only debt where it's legal for you to go to prison, aside from your tax debt. Child support and taxes, two things you can't escape. You got a big credit card bill, a mortgage, car note, you can't go to prison. Child support, you go into the penitentiary making big rocks, little rocks. Now, before I go any further, let's get into what Vivek said. And of course, I will stop it at certain points to react to it, so please pardon me for that. This is on the George Janko Show, so shout out to him. I checked him out a little bit. As a pretty big following. He does a lot of popular stuff. Jake Paul, all these people, some religious stuff. So pretty good dude. But let's check out what Vivek has to say on the situation. Let's go ahead and roll it.
Paying single mothers more money not to have a man in the house than to have that married man in the house.
Why do you think they're doing that?
Because they want to exercise power, dominion, control, and punishment.
Yeah,
right?
because if the man's not controlling the house,
Uncle
something
Sam
else
is.
Yeah.
Uncle Sam is,
Yep.
right? So the woman's saying, I'd rather be married to Uncle Sam because he's writing me a bigger check than whatever you are.
That right there is a big part of it. Uncle Sam. And also sometimes the job. The job can influence, hey, you know, I'm a working woman. I'm out here. I'm doing my thing. I'm getting more money over here, and I'm able to take care of everything I need to take care of. My mom pretty much raises the kid. The kid staying at grandma's house all throughout the week. So I don't really need you. So the incentive is there to just be on our own. But I digress.
And so that allows Uncle Sam to exercise more power over the household than the real Sam, who was actually in there, who got booted because the woman had more of an incentive to collect the check from the government than she did from actually being a member of a stable married household. And that's exactly why fatherlessness has gone up dramatically over the last 6 decades, because you get what you actually pay for.
Yeah. Fatherlessness, like I say, I probably like 60s, 70s, that's when the single parent household rate really jumped up. Now, some are going to make this be a race thing. They're going to say, oh, it's a black community issue. Well, yes, in the black community, the single parent household rate jumped from, I believe, 20% in 1960, which at one point, according to the Moynihan report, was an emergency. 20 to 25% single parent household rate in the black community in around 1960 was considered an emergency. Fast forward to right now, in 2024, we're at about a 75% single parent household rate in the black community. Now, on the flip side, in that same Daniel Patrick Moynihan report from 1960 era, when the black community had a 25% single parent household rate, the whites had a 5% single parent household rate. Now, they're at about a 20 to 25% single parent household rate in that community. And again, remember, that rate was considered an emergency in 1960. So this thing is not a black or a white or any, it's all of us. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, Puerto Rican, candy stripe, we're all affected.
In this country, now 25% of kids are born into a household without a father in that house. In a certain sense, it's not surprising. You get what you pay for. That's what we're paying for, and therefore that's what we're getting. We're paying single.
So there we go. That's what's happening. Shout out to Vivek for that piece of information. You know, I don't want to get too political on this channel, necessarily talking about candidates. I don't want to, you know, kind of rehash my other channel. But what he's saying right there is right on point. And again, I have to reassert myself here. This thing, when you're talking about the single parent household rates, when you're talking about marriage, when you're talking about things not going right, it's not a black or a white. It's not a left or a right. It's everybody. I know plenty of guys. It doesn't matter. Look, you could be a Christian. You could be a pastor. You could be whatever, a stone cold stomp down leftist, LGBT. You could be super right-wing Christian conservative, married to your high school sweetheart, and still suffer divorce and still suffer through paying child support and things of this nature. Okay. And these are the kind of things that young men and men in general need to understand before they get into marriage, before they have children. Understand that if you are married to somebody and she has a baby, that baby usually is considered yours just because you're married, even if it's not yours. Even if the baby is found out to be yours later, are you going to get money back? Let's say you've been paying child support without a paternity test. Are you going to get that back? Sometimes you are. There's a child support order enforced on you without having a paternity test because you were married to the woman at the time of the baby's birth. Maybe even when the baby was conceived, y'all were married. But when the baby was born, y'all together, that's your baby. There's so many different things. The main thing going on with marriage in the West, the USA especially, is the legal system. That's in the way. I think if you got the government out of marriage, or at least reduce the government's role in not only marriage, but child rearing, if you got the government out of the way, you would have more healthy bonds, healthy relationships. But as long as there's an incentive to break up, as long as there's a big pot of gold at the end of the rainbow of marriage, somebody could say, yo, I've been married for 5 years. Okay, that's cool. It's a little bump in the road. I don't want to do that. I'm going to go ahead and cash out. That's what's happening right now. And then guys are being blindsided. Guys would be madly in love. They got kids and all of a sudden now it's all gone. And a lot of the reason why these things happen is because people don't understand what's going on. They don't understand the legal system. They don't understand the incentives the governments provide for being single, for being divorced, for having a bunch of kids with no particular one father. I'm going to add one last piece as I close. I saw a TikTok, and some may say that it was a parody. Some may say that it was in jest, but the woman, a white woman, by the way, the race don't matter, but I'm just saying that's who it was. She said, well, look, you're dumb for having 6 kids by one man. I have 6 kids by 6 men because there's only a certain amount of money that each man can pay for child support. So if I have 6 kids by 6 guys, I can maximize their individual output for child support for each kid. That's how a lot of these, that's girl math a lot of times, and not all. Shout out to all the good women out there married and staying by their husbands 20, 30, 40, 50 years, or you just newlywed. Shout out to you guys. You guys are a rare breed in 2024. What's happening right now is that girl math where I can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 kids by 15 guys and get paid from each one. Then I can get married. I can get a big bag of money at the end. I can get child support, alimony, all these different ways to help build myself up, only to be broke at age 45, trying to find some sucker, some poor sap on a dating app to become my husband. And then I'm going to shame him into dating somebody that's just my age by saying, hey, you can't handle somebody that's your own. You see what I'm saying? So guys got to be ready for it. And I'll talk a lot more about that on this channel. And that's pretty much all I got. Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.